Hey, hey,
Hey, good morning.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, I'm just happy to be here. We're a little early this morning. I don't know if I'm sharing this right now as we speak.
Good morning.
Uh-oh, we're getting an echo.
I'm good. A little bit.
Hold on. I got to share this because I don't know if people realize we're on early today. Do you?
Well, I put it out on a couple of our social pages this morning to let them know it's an earlier time, But hey,
Yeah.
you're a go getter. You've been up since what 4:30? 4?
No, 5:15.
Oh, okay. Well, if everyone doesn't know, I'm in New England and Eric is in Oklahoma, so
Yeah.
I get to come in at regular time and do this, and Eric has to get up a little early and probably juggle a couple of fatherly responsibilities to get
Yes.
this magic
Children. Got to get children to school, all that jazz. And I'm going to share this one more time because. Good morning.
So,
Shots on goal, right?
yeah, why not? Why don't you go first? Are you ready?
Yeah, you know how I roll. I always have more than one.
Okay.
So my first shot on goal in the pizza industry, in the restaurant industry, Sbarro, which everybody remembers Sbarro from the mall, right?
In every rest area off the Mass Pike, right?
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah. So Sbarro announced in the last week or so, they have some big plans to open. I think they said 150 to 200 locations in 2021. And I'm in my head thinking, well, those are like mall locations, stuff, heavy foot traffic locations, right? Which they
You would assume, right? Right.
Yes, and that's actually what their plans are. So they're looking at, malls as an example. They love to go and retrofit a pizza location that pulled out. It's super easy for them. The cost to get into the location for a franchisee is very inexpensive. Mall rent has plummeted because the traffic's not there. And they're betting on, a vaccine. They're betting on traffic coming back. They're betting on people quote unquote getting back to normal. And I just thought it was interesting. It's obviously their wheelhouse. And so you look at a chain they're not trying to reinvent themselves. They're just betting on the down economy right now. And they're betting on things not being good, and they're betting on it coming back. And I just thought it was an interesting take in the pizza world where, we've got people that do delivery or curbside, and those guys or carry out windows, and those guys have done really well through the pandemic. And this one just struck me as odd because it's totally going the opposite direction. So that I don't know if you have a thought on that, but I'm gonna let you.
Well, yeah, I thought where I thought you were going was that they are going to pull out of malls and start their own independent brick and mortars. But the fact that that's great for this guest. To talk about talk about someone who knows the restaurant business. But yeah, that's where I thought you were going. And hey, kudos to them. They're not afraid.
No, they're not. They're not afraid at all. So yeah. So what are you? You get the next shot on goal here. What do you got, sir?
I thought you had more than one.
Well, I do. I didn't know if you wanted to alternate a little bit.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
You go.
My next shot on goal, Carson Wentz. Or what? So here's the deal with Carson Wentz. So he gets pulled out of the game. Jalen Hurts, which would be the third Oklahoma quarterback in a row drafted, will now be probably, I'm going to guess, a starting quarterback. But there's one mighty factor involved in this.
What's that? Money. Right.
So Carson Wentz, if he's not on the roster for the Eagles next year in 2021, he is, I'm glad you're sitting down, not on the roster next year. His hit to their salary cap is $59 million.
Holy crap. And the whole cap is like 170, right?
Yes. And it's not on the roster for 2022. His hit is just half that. It's $24.5 million. But, can you invest? Do you leave him on the roster as a backup quarterback, maybe as a plan B, maybe as a emergency? But I was going to say what a bad move by the Eagles to sign him to a contract extension, but they won a Super Bowl and then now they're awful. But of course, that whole AFC, sorry, not AFC, the NFC East is so freaking bad. I mean, the champion may go to the playoffs, with 6-7 wins.
Right. Well, it won't
maybe, maybe 8-8. Yeah, maybe 8-8.
Nick, he should thank Nick Foles every day of his life for his Super Bowl ring, because he wasn't on the field, and all of our we have several Philly fans that are in the social media world that happen to love Philadelphia Eagles, and I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Our boy Jeffrey Gittimer loves to shout out the score of that game, but he fails to mention when he got dominated a few years back. When Donovan McNabb, giant wuss, threw up on the sideline, scared of the Patriots. So, my last shot on goal. This is probably the most important of all. Rumor is they're making a Waterboy 2.
Oh, that's perfect. Well, Adam Sandler, who touts himself being from New York, actually graduated from Central High School in Manchester, New Hampshire. My ex-brother-in-law went to school with him. He was a year behind him and said he wasn't that funny. Well, I happened to look up the other day that he's worth $420 million.
Well, he's done a great job with Netflix. All of his movies are Netflix movies now. And what I read was this Waterboy 2. They're doing Waterboy 2, and there's another one that's a sequel. He's never been a sequel guy, but both of these sequels, from what I read, will go direct to Netflix.
Okay.
Some of his movies on Netflix have been the highest watched movies they've done. I can watch some of that stuff. I'm not a big, fan of his, but it's all right. Good for him.
Well, this isn't my shot on goal, but I read yesterday that Stevie Nicks and Bob Dylan sold their catalog. What do they know that we don't know?
Sean Litvak posted something like that yesterday as well, and someone said, do they know the end is near? Do they, what? What I think they know? I think they know both. They're both aging, and I think that the economy, with the way it is right now, I think it's not going to recover in the next couple of years to where the money they got right now they may not get for 4 or 5. I think it's economics.
Right.
I think it's purely economics, and I was going to say, who cares, right? Kind of. But I've also never written music either.
Right.
It's probably deeply part of you. One of the things I always wonder about artists like that, can you imagine being like Bob Dylan and singing the same song 400,000 times in your life and everybody's still like, yeah,
The answer, my friend, is growing in the wind, right?
Yeah. I mean, golly, you just put that on repeat, probably just like, oh. They probably get sick of doing the same songs over and over.
Right. And now they get to hear them on commercials whenever they scroll by.
I think it's just purely economics. It has to be. So anyway, that's my 3 shots on goal today. So,
cool. All right. So my shots on goal are marketing related. Since we've got someone that's going to be coming on and can talk about no sequels. By
the way, that was the only one, I believe, was Grown Ups 2. So I believe that was the only one, and I think that was Wes that said that. So
that was probably he would know. So I got this introduction. Thank you. Introduction card in the mail the other day from a local bank who wants my business. And I'm in printing and marketing, and I noticed that there's no stamp here. Right, this is bulk rate. And then when I open it up, it's pre-printed with these 2 people that want my business that have their signature down here. That's right there. I would never call them. Right? I would never call them. I would never call them. I don't care if they have the best rates. They don't want my business that bad. And plus, there's no follow-up call to this piece that has happened. I got this like several weeks ago, right? So then it makes me think of things like what we do. We have this card, and we put our business card on one side, and we write a handwritten note, and then we've got our friend Kellen, who has these amazing 3-dimensional cards. I just think that, people are getting lazy. I think that if you really want the business, I think we have to go back to basics. And then there's the other side, right? So I got an email today from a development company, because we do a lot of web work in India. $20 an hour, that kind of thing, right? The guy said, I don't know what his email said. His subject line was, "This is my 5th request." Right. So he's emailed me. He emailed me 5 times, and he's annoyed that I haven't gotten back to him. Now he's getting a little animated. So I'm wondering whether it's just a cultural thing, but I just think that the massaging of the marketing has gone by the wayside. I don't know if it's COVID or just what the deal is, but I think people need to try harder. That's my shot on goal.
I got a Christmas card in the mail the other day, and we get it every year from someone we know. And it's this always beautiful Christmas card, right? Thank you so much. And it looks like a stamp that has their name. And I'm, if you're going to take the time to send me a Christmas card, just scribble it on it or something. By the way, Tim, you're really choppy today, so I don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah, I don't know that. We were having issues with that camera this morning too. Maybe it's just that it's early. It's early and it's not warmed up. It's all those bulbs in my computer that are going on and off. So
okay, so the hamsters aren't running. So
right.
Wes, is our guest in today, or is he here yet? If he is, there he is. Hey, Rev, how are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
We are good. I have the pleasure of introducing you, and I literally woke up at 3:30 this morning, and I was thinking about you laying in bed. By the way, I sleep naked, just so you know. But I'm kidding, I don't. But I had a couple of things run through my head, but one of them was just thinking about you and how do you explain what Rev Ciancio does? And I wrote down when I was in bed, and I wrote down you are a data-centric social media guru.
Well, I'm okay with that. I've definitely been called worse.
Yeah. Well, and because I thought about from the standpoint that I look at you like in Instagram circles, and you've got 3 or 4 accounts that have 1 million followers total or whatever that number is, and we'll talk about that. But you're very data-driven when you do stuff. The first time I ran across you was I think you had done a video with Bruce Irving, and I listened to you talk about, well, we tried this on this day, and then we did it different with a couple of different hashtags 3 days later, and here were the results. And I was just like, okay, and I'm just happy if we get 30 likes on a post, on Instagram, and you're out here doing all this crazy stuff. So welcome to the show. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm good. So a couple of really key things. I've been listening to the conversation. I want to get caught up real quick. So
good.
Number one, Little Nicky is the best Sandler flick ever, full stop. Okay. Secondly, Stevie Nicks and Bob Dylan sold out long before we ever heard their names. Okay. Number two. Number 3, 1984 was the best year in the history of baseball. No questions allowed. Okay. Number 4, the best way to market is to have your happiest customers do it for you, which means reviews, case studies, testimonials, which will drive your business like nothing else. And number 5, lastly, super important, cheese belongs under the burger patty for 2 reasons. A, nobody orders a burger without cheese unless they're lactose intolerant. It's because they enjoy the flavor. Put it closer to your tongue. Okay. And number 2, it protects bun integrity. There you go. We're caught up.
Bun integrity.
Good night.
Like a perfect crust pizza liner. It's about the integrity that bun integrity. Why 1984?
The Tigers, the Detroit Tigers.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I'll give you that little Sparky Anderson and give you that. Hey, I screenshotted this because I wanted to kick off our talk this morning. You posted this, and I just because we do some of the same stuff. You're much better at it than me, but most restaurant operators think posting to Instagram will bring them new guests. The truth is that no one follows a restaurant unless they've had an experience with them. Organic Instagram is good for retention. Paid is for acquisition. Can you talk about that?
Sure. I think it's a mistake that a lot of people, not even just restaurant owners, but people, business people in general think, oh, if I post to Instagram, I'll generate, new business. nobody really follows a brand or a restaurant on Instagram unless they either intend to or have had an experience, right? Which means what? It's not new customers, right? Or it's not potential customers. It's already somebody who's had a brand experience. So it's great for retention. It's great for upsells. It's great for cross sells. It's great for building for community. But sharing content to your Instagram account is not how you attract guests, right? The best way to use Instagram to attract new guests or new business is paid, right? It's a pay-to-play platform. I mean, you said you're happy getting 30. I'm kind of in this universe where I have 100 and some thousand followers on my main account, and I get like 400 or 500 likes. It's ridiculous. When I remember when I had like 30,000 followers and I would get like 4,000 likes. Boy, I wish those days were here anymore. It's not that though, right? But there are lots of people on there. The targeting is pretty intense. And if you want to use social media to drive awareness, like for new customers, you got to pay for it. That's how it works.
Yeah. I want to ask you about some of your accounts. Like your personal account, you have over 100,000 followers on Instagram. And there are some people that Joe Soto, who's been on our show, talks about, doing a live like this and taking and boosting the post so you gain traction and turn around, those people become followers. Then just kind of rinse, wash, repeat as that snowballs. Did you do some of that with your account, or was that all organic growth, or how much of that do you think what percentage of the 100,000 came from a paid to play kind of situation?
Boy, man, you put me on a spot with a question I can't answer.
I take away the data center.
I don't know what percentage were earned from paid. Okay.
Right.
But the answer is yes. I've definitely employed paid tactics to gain awareness for myself and my business. So, I practice what I preach. I looked the other day, I think I've spent probably $3,500 this year on Instagram and Facebook advertising. But look, if you do the math, if you're a restaurant operator, I think I'm running loose numbers here because I don't have it in front of me, but I've generated something like 400,000 impressions from $4,000, right? Even if like 1% of those people buy from me, like who cares? That was nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah. If 10% of those people buy from me, like I'm ridiculously rich. And that's why like when restaurant operators come to me and be like, oh, how do I attract new guests? I'm like, pay for it. Like if you can drive an impression from somebody who lives within a 3-mile radius of your store, for 0.004 cents, like, why would you waste time taking pictures of pizza and posting them to Instagram for 2 hours a day? Like, automate that.
Well, I don't want to hog all the conversation.
No.
Well, hold on. I said that with all due respect, but I want to run down that rabbit hole just a second. For people that don't know, you said the people that are within 3.5 miles of your location. How do you find those people? I know how. Can you talk about how to find those people on Instagram?
I mean, there's a couple of ways. The obvious answer is pay, right?
Yep.
Like you can do ads. And by the way, I want to be very clear for anybody that's watching. I really don't advocate for doing promoted posts. You have very, very limited targeting and very, very limited options and very limited goals that you can do there. And if you do it continually, you'll actually exhaust your audience, right? And the other thing, too, is you're boosting on a hunch. It's like, oh, we want to promote our birthday parties. Maybe nobody cares about them. Maybe it's not the reason why people want to follow your account. Maybe they want to follow your account because, like, you're a nice person or you're a part of the community or they like your chicken wings. But you have no idea, if you're not looking at the data, which one of those converts. That's why if you're going to have a paid if you're going to look at some paid ways to generate awareness, just do it in Business Manager and Ads Manager because you get far, far, far more capability. And I think I kind of sort of half forgot the question there because I got up on a pedestal about paid. But sorry.
No, I was talking about on Instagram, there is a way you can go in and you can find people in your area.
Sure. A couple other ways to do it. Here's the organic, hacky way to do it, which definitely works and is great for a local restaurant, is you can go into Instagram, you can search by location. So you can search for your town. I live in Rutherford, New Jersey. So I love to pick on Matt Ferrazzoli because I love him and I love his pizza business. But Matt Ferrazzoli could log into Instagram. He could go to searches. He could look up Rutherford, New Jersey and see all the people that are tagging and posting content in Rutherford, New Jersey. And he could DM them. He could like them. He could comment on their page, whatever. It sounds like a hack. It's really not. It's just a really brick by brick way to go meet locals. Another way to do it, if you know there's a competitor in your town this is a little nefarious. But if there's a competitor in your town, you can go look at people who are commenting on their posts, and you can DM and comment on their pages. Hey, I mean, I think it's all fair in love and war, right? So
I just love that you said nefarious. Like that's the good word, being a jerk on Instagram. But I love it. I love it. So Tim, you had a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all good. I mean, you both live in that restaurant world. Rev, nice to meet you. I did a little background check-in on you and listened to some podcasts that you had been on.
I thought this conversation was going to go in a different way. You're like, I was checking into you. I was like, all right, how much do I owe you?
Well, I could ask you the serious question, or I'm just going to go right to it. Tell us about your love of Arbys.
Oh man, Arbys! I love Arbys. I really do. I think I might even have it right here. Yep, I do. I was one of the very first. I have an official. I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but it's an Arbys Meat Crafter card. That's
nice.
That's made of steel.
Wow.
And I am number 356. They only give these out. You can't ask for them. But I love Arbys for a number of reasons. So I've loved Arbys since I was a kid because I love the food, right? Roast beef and cheddar, curly fries, like the fast food is just awesome. I'm definitely carnivorous. So their spin to be the meat place really has appealed to me. But you know what I like as an adult, what I've really grown to like about Arbys? They are incredible marketers, right? They're incredible from a brand perspective. They know who they are. They know who their audience is. They know what their voice is. They know what their value proposition is. Like they get who they are and who their customer is from the ground up. My favorite promotion they've ever done was the venison sandwiches. Do you guys remember those?
No, I don't.
It is like
great job, Arbys.
Good job. I'll tell you why it's great for two reasons. First of all, venison is my absolute favorite thing to eat on the entire planet. Most people don't know that. So number one, that was appealing. Number two, when I found out why they decided to do venison sandwiches, I was like, you're the greatest brand ever. So they paid a research firm to be like, okay, tell us who our customers are. Like really find out. We just don't want, adults X, Y to Z that, suburban, blah, blah, blah. They're like, we don't want that. Like, what are their real deep interests? And they found out that a significant portion of the hunting industry and people who were into hunting, their favorite QSR was Arbys. And they're like, how do we appeal to this base that we have? No other brand out there from a QSR standpoint is embracing the hunting lifestyle. And they're like, let's make a venison sandwich. And so they released, I think, literally 2,000 sandwiches. That's it. And they only released it at like a number of locations in hunting places that were not like, Eastern PA, and right. It sold out in minutes. In New York City, it sold out in 15 minutes. Who's hunting in New York City? The cops? I don't know. But when I was like, oh my God, I can't believe how much money you spent on like developing an item, only releasing like 2,000, all the advertising. And they were like, yeah, it was genius. And like, they had a huge lift in their entire business just from that. They did it again the next year. They had an elk sandwich, which was delicious, and a venison sandwich. And I'm like, you know what? That's smart marketing. That's a brand that gets who they are. I'm not done, okay? They are awesome. They are awesome at one-to-one marketing. Awesome, okay? I get emails from them like every other week on a Monday, right? Promoting their 23rd Street store in Manhattan. Why? Because I used to work across the street from the 23rd Street store, and very frequently on a Monday around 2:30, I'd be like, I need a snack, right? And I was running across the street and getting like those little buffalo chicken sliders they have, which
I love those. I love those. That's my favorite thing from Arbys.
Yep, or getting like the jalapeno beef slider, but whatever they do that I like to order on a Monday, or I just order that week. And so they have the data in their base and they're reading it and they know when to market to me. They know which store to market to me. And I don't ever get an email about their fish sandwich. You know why? Because I don't eat fish. It's disgusting, right? They know in their data that I eat roast beef and cheddar. They know that I eat the barbecue items. They know that I eat curly fries. And they know that I click on their store because I get promos for like their bacon merchandise. They're the smartest QSR brand that I've had intimate interactions with, and everybody should try to be more like Arbys.
I have a follow-up question. I also know that their big tagline is "We have the meats." So why aren't you wearing your meat sweats today?
You know what? That's funny. That's a good question. So I think there's less than 5 people in the world that have those, and I got gifted one. It was like the best day ever to have like a knock on my door, be like, we have a gift from Arbys, and I opened it up and it was a sweatsuit, full body, top and bottom, with the design was pictures of all the Arbys meats on it. At the time, I weighed at I was a different weight. so now they wouldn't fit me. Although now that I'm thinking, I've lost 24 pounds in the last month, so they will probably fit me again. So I need to find them, and you're right, I need to wear them.
All right, cool.
Regarding Arby's, and it is kind of a funny story. My daughter, who's 8 now, she had to been 4, and we were driving by Arby's by her, and our 4-year-old goes, "We have the meats." And I'm like, well, that worked. That works. And by the way, I'm right there with you. The buffalo chicken sliders, which are 300 calories a piece. I mean, I'll go punish like 4 of those at a time, and they're pretty good. I wanted to ask you. It's funny you mentioned you lost 24 pounds because I wrote down to ask you about your diet. I know you're. So what prompted that? Other than because I know you don't have high cholesterol. I've asked you that before. Did you decide to lose a few lbs? What happened?
I have high triglycerides. So you know what? Honestly, when you're fat, you kind of know it, right? Like you're just like, I'm fat. And you're like, oh, I wish I wasn't fat. And then like, you don't do anything about it forever. But in COVID, I've added 7 pounds. That's a lot of pounds, right?
Yeah.
And really what it dates back to is in 2018, I was in an accident on Labor Day and I broke both my wrist and my ankle. And I went from like mowing my lawn to emergency room to living in hospice for 6 weeks. And I was miserable. I only saw my wife and my kid twice in 6 weeks because every time they came to visit me, they got sick. So I just couldn't have them come. I ended up losing my job. Like a bunch of terrible misery stuff happened. But the one thing that I did was like, well, if this is the life I'm living, I'm going to eat whatever I want, whenever I want, because that's how I'm going to make myself happy. I don't have the best eating habits to begin with, but I was eating, pizza, French fries, steak, burger, hot wings, garlic knots, all day, every day. And when I got out, right, I was actually in physical recovery for 2 years, right? So like I can't really exercise because I have arthritis for the rest of my life now. I can't exercise the way that I used to. I can a little. I'm also kind of lazy and busy, and I make anyway, whatever. Pounds are coming on and on and on and on. And one day I just woke up and I was like, I don't like this. Like, I really don't like this. And that day, I told my wife this morning. She didn't know. So it's funny you guys asked. I was sitting on the couch on a Sunday. My kid was in my lap snuggling me. We're watching TV. And it was like a really cute, like he's taking a nap, I'm taking a nap. And my wife took a picture because there's this endearing moment where, dad and kid are snuggling, whatever. And she sent me the picture. And it's a side view of me. And I basically have like a bubble, like a black ball around my stomach. And like, I love this picture of me and my kid. And I was disgusted with myself.
Right.
Like, bro, you've manifested all these other things in your life. You're a business leader. You've started, you've launched your own business in COVID. You have a podcast. Like, how come you can't control this thing? Like, why does it have control of you? And that was it. I literally went on Facebook that day. It might have been the next day and said, I'm starting a November weight loss challenge. Who wants to join with me? And 16 people signed up, and 100% of the people that participated lost weight. Every single person in it lost, and we're doing it again in December. So
what are you doing different? Are you eating different? Are you more exercise? What are you doing?
Well, the start was pretty easy because in COVID, I was eating 4 meals a day of whatever I wanted. Pasta, pizza, sandwiches, burger, French fries, hot Nashville hot chicken, all the things that are on my Instagram accounts. And then I was like, well, I'm I don't have friends anymore and I'm kind of miserable. So I'm going to drink beer by myself. And I would drink 3 or 4, which is a great, by the way, I never realized how much I enjoy drinking beer by myself.
This is actually wine first thing in the morning.
I was going to say, did you crack a beer this morning already?
Yeah, I have an AHA.
Okay.
I drink a lot of bubbles. So anyway, 4 meals a day, whatever I wanted, tons of calories, and 4 craft beers a night. So the start of the diet was, okay, I'm not going to drink craft beer. That's out. I'm gonna cut down to 2 meals, and I'm gonna remove like the bad stuff and go low carb. So I basically was just eating meat, which pretty good.
It's not a bad deal. Yeah,
I was eating meat and drink a seltzer, and so like just that alone, just stuff started to come off. And so I've started to introduce a little bit of calorie counting and a little bit of vegetables. And so right now I'm trying to stay at like a low carb, 2,000 calorie a day life. I'm pretty loose. I'm lazy. So, I'm not actually counting calories. I just like do loose calculations and stay in. And honestly, it's working. And the real trick for me is these like seltzers. Every time, like if I'm sitting here and I'm having a mad craving and I'm like, God, like I'm so hungry. Like I want a plate of nachos with chorizo and pulled pork and barbecue. And like, I look at food porn all day and I talk to like, I'm hungry. I go grab a can of a flavored seltzer and I down it.
And you do that because all those bubbles, it fills your stomach up, right?
So it's volume. The water is volume. The bubbles kind of like get your system excited, right? The flavor like replaces whatever the flavor thing you need is. But I probably drink 5 or 6 seltzers a day, and I go to the store once a week and I buy 3 or 4 more. And you guys would laugh. This is how anal retentive I am. I go and I organize them by type. So if I go downstairs and I want to grab 4 cans, the first 4 cans are like the last 4 that I haven't had. And so you go downstairs and I have a strawberry and a grape and a limoncello and an apple, and when I buy new ones, I rearrange all of them again. It takes me like a half hour. It's so stupid.
Is there a meat flavored seltzer?
Is there what?
A meat flavored seltzer?
I don't know if I want to find one. I'm kind of happy with the fruity flavors right now.
We need to get Arbys to hook that up. We normally try to keep this about 30 minutes, and we're at 30, and then we'll come back and record some OT stuff. But while we're live, I wanted to ask you about Fun with Fries. You've got 400,000 followers on that page. How long have you had it? B, I'm sure you've got some paid sponsorships. I see some Lamb Wesson stuff on there, and all, but some of those photos are just absolutely incredible. Like, are those all your photos? Have you taken all those?
No, they're not mine. So Fun with Fries is an Instagram account I run. That's basically, I'm the world's largest French fry influencer, and I don't mean largest.
Yeah.
I mean that I have more followers for people who are interested in French fries than anybody else. It started kind of as a joke. I don't know if you guys know Ryan Hinkson. He runs @EatFamous. He's like Canada's biggest food blogger. But at the time, he had like 150 or 200,000 followers, and this must have been 2014 or 15. And I think I had like 17,000 on my main account. And we had him on my old podcast called Like, Bite, and Share. And we're like, how do you do it? And he basically like gave us a master class on how to build following on Instagram. And I was like, all right, now that I have your knowledge, Ryan, I challenge you to a French fry contest. Best 2 out of 3, whoever can get the most engagement on a picture of French fries wins. And I beat him 2 out of 3. Right? Wow. 17,000 followers, and he had 170 or something, like 170,000. I beat him 2 out of 3. And in that, I realized 2 things. A, wow, people really like French fries.
Right.
And there was no like French fry themed account out there. And I was like, oh, there's a hole in the market. And number 2, at the time, I was like, I help restaurants with their marketing all day. If I start a channel where I get a bunch of French fry followers, I can promote my friends' businesses and my customers and my clients who serve fries by posting them. And I was like, I'm just going to go do it. And people were like, this is the dumbest account ever. Like, what? Like, you're going to run out of content. Like, nope. Nope.
Never.
Fry porn.
Hey, we haven't even talked about third-party app stuff, which is, I think, a lot of what you're doing right now. And I want to kind of wrap this up the next couple of minutes and then go to the OT and record some more. But will you talk real quick about what you've got going on right now as far as how you're helping the restaurant industry and how people can get a hold of you?
Sure. Thank you for bringing that up. So I host a boot camp called the Third to First Party Conversion Boot Camp, where I teach restaurant operators, owners, and marketers how to get guests to stop using Grubhub and Seamless and DoorDash and Uber Eats and order directly instead. I also show them how to make those customers not go back to third party and how to generate more orders than they would have regularly. It's pretty cool. I've done the boot camp 3 times this year. I think I've had 50 or so restaurants go through it so far. A lot of them are seeing at a minimum 100% lift in first party orders, meaning guests ordering from their own system. I have one customer who has seen a 200% lift in first party orders.
Wow.
And I like another guy that's gone through it that's beating his annual projection already in December by 200%. So, I've been in the business for a long time. I know lots of smart people like you and a lot of our colleagues. And I asked everybody the questions. How do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do this? I took all that information and cobbled it into a 4-week course and was like, all right, I have the ability to help people, and I put it together. And we're actually live in a boot camp. Today is week 4. It's the final week. and I'm going to bring it back in January.
Awesome. How can people get a hold of you?
Any of the screen names that you've shown on today, you can DM me on Instagram at Rev Ciancio. You can private message me on LinkedIn. I'm Rev Ciancio. You won't find my email address on the branded site, although I do work with branded. You can email me, rev@brandedstrategic.net. And if you Google expert burger taster, I'm the top 7 results. So any of those methods, just pick your favorite.
And just call Arbys on 23rd Street, and they'll probably just they'll just transfer you straight to Rev. So Rev, we're going to jump off, and we'll come back with you in the OT. And thank you for being on today, my friend.
Thank you. I see you guys in the OT.
Appreciate
All right. Well, Tim, you got any parting words before we jump off today?
Well, I just want to thank our producer, Wes, for putting this together. We had a little craziness this morning with the internet being whacked out. I want to thank our sponsor, the Woodstock Inn Brewery. I think we'll just edit the whole, I don't drink craft beer part out of his interview anymore. But,
I love craft beer.
Me too. Yeah, and I could probably stop drinking it and lose some LBs myself. I'm good. Thanks, Eric. Another great show.
Who do we have on next week?
Next week, we have Kevin Bobbitt, who is the VP of marketing for a company called iRacing.com that has just grown like crazy, especially during COVID. And he'll have some great stories for us.
That's awesome. And the week after that, which is Christmas week, just a massive Christmas present, we've got Rich Villar and Kim Hubbs on, who they're talking about doing something special in the penalty box because they're hockey guys. I don't even know what that means. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have teeth or something like that. There's just no telling with those two.
Well, I don't know, but if they have brought Wes into their plans, then we have a problem.
yeah, no doubt. Michelle was on this morning. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Kenny Mayberry. How are you guys? That's a wrap for today. We're going to jump off here and then do the OT and record that. And I've got a lot of good questions. Rev is super smart. And for any restaurant operators, if you're using third-party delivery, we're going to really get into that conversation because he talks about let them go find the customers and you steal them. And so it's good stuff. So thank you all for watching today, Tim. I will see you in the OT. Wes, I'll see you in the OT. And if you're watching today, be incredible, my friends.
Thanks, Eric. Have a good day, everyone.